Hey friends, how you doing? Welcome back to the stream, and we've got a few people on the line already, or here we go. Clinton coming in with the 100 bits already. Thank you, sir. Awesome. So who we got here? We've got Bling Along, we've got Why Bad Dragon or Why Be a Dragon. I never know which way to say that. Lachlan, Clinton, I'm not sure I mentioned Clinton. Yep, fantastic. Pikachu's here, two monkeys, absolutely, over in the background here. Wonderful. All right, so it's Friday. I'm super tired. I stayed up really late last night. So, Why Bad Dragon? Why Be a Dragon? It's Why Be a Dragon. Okay, I'll get that right. Thank you for the subscription. Appreciate it. Lachlan, no, that's not Stimpy. That's Ren. That's Ren Howick. But yes, it is a pixel version of Ren Howick. All right, let's get going, shall we? Let's have a look at where we're up to, what we're going to try and do today. And how's everyone doing? Okay, so all right, so what we're going to do, Ren and Stimpy are awesome. Why Be a Dragon? I remember I spent a long time watching that when it was on. It probably is still on, I'm not sure. All right, so we're going to continue on from last stream, right? So last stream we did this design where we had this nice little skier sharp animation transition as we go through. And I've actually got this running here on a couple of devices. What we did. Okay, so here it is running on an Android and on an Android physical device and an iOS simulator, right? So we can swipe between our pages, and you know it's pretty good. It's not a bad representation of. Oh yeah, let me move this out of the way. Not a bad representation of what we were trying to do there. Okay, so what we want to have a look at today, I thought we'd have a look at the design here. So this was the one by Henry Prince. This is the one that we did. I'll throw a couple of links out here in the chat window. So that was that original design. And I should just go and find the GitHub repo for this bad boy. Somebody's got to turn on their two-factor. All right, so this is actually the GitHub repo for this application here. Okay, now the problem with this application at the moment is that it's great for portrait orientations, but it's not so great when we go landscape, right? So if I get my Android device here, let's just get a few things out of the way here. Boop. All right, and I turn this into landscape mode. Okay, so I mean it still works, but it's not great in landscape, right? So it turns out that the designer also did a landscape version of the same design, which is this one here. It's a really nice design. It uses a different kind of transition inside of here, but I thought, hey, let's give this a go, see what we can get done on this one. And we'll just add to it. And so one of the things I wanted to tackle today was actually having a page in portrait and landscape and actually swapping the views out as well. So let's just talk about what we hope to get done in today's stream, shall we? So first of all, that's the link there to the landscape version of it. Okay, so what do we want to do? Well, when I think about this in our to-do list here, where I want to really start off with is basically combining this together. Let's just probably zoom that in. Can I zoom in here? I'm not sure if I can. So we want to combine this with the mountain design, the existing mountain design. And by doing that, we can share our data, right? So we want to create an orientation-aware page. And there's a few different ways that we can do that. So we'll have a look at that. Why that dragon, please? I repasted. Okay, I repasted that. Beautiful. Thanks for letting me know that. So this here is the landscape edition. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so create an orientation-aware page. So we need to think about, you know, do we swap out the pages, or do we basically just go and reposition elements? Okay, so we want to also probably create a view model for this, so as we can share our data. Of course, we want to create a layout for our new page, new landscape view. And then we want to have a look at the photo the transition. Okay, so I've got the video here of this particular layout, and it's kind of cool. Let's have a look at what it does. Let's play it a few times here. So a couple of interesting things about this design. Of course, what it's really doing is it's going and getting the image, it's splitting it into a bunch of bands, and then it's animating those across the screen. Okay, so we've done some animations before, but of course we're going to tackle that landscape versus portrait page. What else has it got? It's got different transitions here on how it does, like the text, the detailed text. So we'll have to focus on that as well. Okay, it's got a little set of numbers down the bottom here as well, or sorry, little page indicators as well. So let's have a look at what we'll do for our transition. So we've got to basically break our image up into, keyboard go. Break our image up into bands. Okay, and then we've got to get that out of the way. And then we've got to animate those bands. Okay. What else should we do? We also need to think about that bottom page indicator as well. All right, so that's what we're going to do. And let me just put a note in here. Why be a dragon? Okay, so that's what we'll do in today's stream. Alrighty, so let's have a look at where we're at with the existing application. So what we did is we put it all into a main page here, right? And in fact, we kind of had an object here, this location, but really what we'd want to do is we'd want to perhaps share that information. So we'll create a view model for that, and then we'll sort of set it for each of our different things. Now, the first thing I want to tackle though is the idea of what we'll do with the different orientations of the pages. Your brother came up with it. Beautiful. All right. So let's talk location-aware pages first of all. Now, it turns out I was sort of thinking, how are we going to do that? Because in, sorry, not location-aware, orientation-aware pages, there's a few different techniques you can use. There's a really good article over here. Let me post that into the chat window. This article here is by Joni Davis, and it talks about some different approaches for basically handling orientation, because Xamarin.Forms doesn't give you orientation events by default. Instead, you've actually got to go and have a look at basically the width and height. So there's, depending on what you want to do with your page, you may choose to just reposition elements right? But actually in our situation, what we probably want to do is we probably want to just have a whole new view that we display, because actually the layout is quite different. Okay, so this here is really cool. Cool article, talks about a bunch of different techniques through here, and eventually the way that they went. And I think I'm going to use the way they did. So the idea, what visual states, you can certainly do visual states as well. So that's a possibility also. Absolutely. So, you know, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. Let's just try one and see what we have. So I'll base it sort of on what, was it Joni? Yeah, what Joni Davis did. Okay, so that's sort of step one. Yeah, visual states is, I did a video once at Xamarin University on visual states, I think. And let's have a look. Xamarin.Forms visual state. There we go. So it was in Xamarin.Forms 3. So if anyone wants to sort of check out that video, I sort of go about how you can rearrange a page using the Visual State Manager. Right, but for our case, we kind of want to focus on the layouts and the animation. So let's go and tackle that first of all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by creating myself effectively a page, or a content page, which is orientation aware. So I'll create myself a folder here. And we'll call this, I don't know, pages or views, whatever we like. Okay. And I'll go and add in a new, let's go and create a new page. Call this our orientation content page. All right. And our orientation content page, doesn't really matter what we have in it, but let's get rid of the content here for the moment. What I really want to have a look at here is the code in the back end. So here's one approach, right? One approach is we can have our orientation content page, which is based on our content page, and then we can detect the orientation in here, and then basically raise an event and have some virtual methods inside of here. So let's start off with detecting the width and the height. Okay, so we'll say private double width and height. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll go and we'll call from here, we'll call down to our base. Okay. We'll have an init method. And public partial class. Probably get rid of that semicolon. Like I said, I'm tired. So let's have an init method. Okay, and what we'll do in our init method is we'll say the width equals this dot width. Say the height equals this dot height. Beautiful. Okay. And then we'll say, based on this, let's go and update our layout. Okay, so we'll have an update layout method. Where was I last night? I was doing work late last night. All right, so our update layout page, update layout method. Words are going to be hard today. We basically want to say if our width is greater than our height, right, then we're going to be in landscape. Okay, so let's say have a method, set up landscape page. or landscape layout. And otherwise, scroll this up the page here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit as well. We'll set up our portrait layout. All right. And then we'll have a couple of methods here. So these are going to be virtual methods. All right. So the idea here is that you could override them if you want. And we'll also have a portrait version as well. All right, something like that. Now, what do we want to do here? We want to basically say, in our case, what we're going to do is we're going to swap the layouts based on Bling and Belong says you can actually do the setup on a background thread if you switch to a main thread before adding it to the content of the content page. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Of course, you got to be careful what you do there, right? You don't want to be on the wrong thread and updating the UI. Right. So this is cool. So we got our initial. Yeah, I'm going to keep this simple for the moment. We can always improve it. Don't they say, like, you know, get it working, make it better, then make it faster? All right. So the idea of this is that it's going to initialize it first of all when it comes in. All right. And then we're going to have an override for our on size allocated. And what we want to do inside of here, we have to call this. We have to call the base, otherwise things won't work. All right. But then we pretty much want to say, based on this, if the width is not equal to the width, or our height is not equal to our height. So in other words, it's changed. Right. Then let's go ahead. This dot height. We want to basically say, let's go and set the width. What the width? This dot height equals to the height. All right. And then what we're going to do is we want to go and update our layout. All right, cool. So that's the idea here. Okay. Now, what do we do about the various views that we have? Well, what we can do is we can put we could either pass the pages in, or we could actually create a couple of types for them, right? And we could actually go and create them in here. It depends on what you need to do, whether you want to reuse a page, whether you want to create a new instance of a page. Let's just go with the approach that that Joni sort of went with as a starting point. So what she has is she has got a type. So this would be our landscape layout type. And portrait layout type. Okay. And then down here, we basically say when we set up the landscape page, we say if the landscape layout type is set, then let's go ahead and set the content. Right, so this is done through a little bit of reflection, right? So activator, create instance, landscape layout type, something like that. So you can do it for us. And that's going to come back as an object. So we'll cast it as a view. All right. Landscape as opposed to wandscape. And we'll just do the same thing here. Okay. Portrait layout type. What do I call it? Man. It's gonna be a tough day coding today. Portrait layout type. Cool. So that gives us our orientation page. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we want to create a couple of views for our portrait and our landscape. So let's do that, because what we're effectively doing is we've got our page, and then basically we're setting the content in here based on the orientation. Right, so we're basically loading in one here, and when we're in a different view over here, we're loading a different view into here. That's the general idea. You're right, I did it again. Escape layout. Yeah, I appreciate any typos you can see, because like I said, I'm super tired. All right, so we've got our orientation page. Let's create ourselves a landscape view, portrait view. And we'll just test this out. So we'll just say hello landscape to start with. Okay, that'll be our page, and then we'll have a portrait view inside of here as well. And we'll just say hello portrait. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to add 2 pages. And then kind of what we want to do from here is we want to create ourselves a page based on our orientation sort of content page. Okay, so let's do that. Let's create this in here, tidy it up later on. And let's just call this our slideshow page. This will be our main page. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to base this on not on just a content page, but on our orientation content page, if that makes sense. So we're going to change the base type here. This is always a little bit nastier to do, but let's do this. Visual Studio, where did you go? Dear. Hello, Visual Studio. Hello, Visual Studio, are you there? Come back. Visual Studio died on me. All right, that's okay. We can deal with this. Nothing a good task manager can't fix. No, it's definitely not coming back, is it? Yeah, why be a dragon? You notice the latest version, it freezes up a lot. Yeah, there's a few bugs. It never comes back. Yeah, I don't think this is going to come back. And I also notice, yes, that it doesn't pull changes in iOS from the from a standard library. That sucks. All right. See if we can end this task. Sometimes it doesn't want to end as well. Maybe it's just having a bad day like me. Oh, come now. I'm over here in my task manager on my other screen. End task. Die. Die already. Oh, that's super dead, right? Oh, there it goes. All right, let's spin it back up again. Let's see how much of that we lost. Probably most of it. Recover selected files. Beautiful. Okay, cool. We've got our landscape page. Got our portrait page. Beautiful. What are we doing here? We were going to change the type of this. Let's see if we can do this. Oh no, it's done it again. All right. Are you serious? Happy days in Visual Studio World. Looks like it's almost reproducible. Now I'm going to go through this process of shutting this thing down again. Do I have the preview installed? I do. I don't have it up to date, I don't think. Have you, Lachlan, have you run the preview and does it not have these issues? Seems much better. All right, let's try one more time. Try adding an XML/NS in a different file. Maybe. Let's just do this first. Let's just change this. So this is going to be an orientation content page. Okay, and of course that's going to complain because it doesn't have the XAML type is different. Let's have a look here. Let's see if I come here. Okay. That's cool. I can do it there. Okay, you can do it for me here too. I know you can. Come on, Visual Studio. Okay, I'm going to try and reproduce that later on. So what we're going to do here is we kind of want to change this. We want to make this not a content page. Yay! We want to basically set the base page for this. right? And what we want, oops, not there. Let's go and get our pages, and we're going to basically say this is this here is going to be our base page, colon, and an orientation content page. Let's see how that goes. Okay, looking okay so far. Okay, and what we should be able to do is in our slideshow page, which is our main page, which is now an orientation content page, if we say this should now have a portrait layout type, and we'll say that is the type of portrait view. And then we'll have our landscape layout. Let's go there. Let's change that. Just say layout type equals type of landscape view. All right. Let's start there. Let's see what happens if we set this as our main page now. Okay, let's see if it works. Let's deploy this. iOS. See if it's going to work. This is one of the things I really wish was baked into Xamarin.Forms. I'm not sure why orientation awareness isn't. Oh. My goodness, people. I promise I've coded before. Yeah, but also, Lachlan, it should be implemented similar to on idiom, on platform, on orientation. Yep. But also it needs to raise events as well. I suppose that one of the reasons they don't maybe is that it gives you the flexibility to do it however you'd like. Oh, you know what that bug is? So here's the exact bug that Why Be a Dragon mentioned. So I actually fixed that, but it's not going to do it because in iOS, there seems to be a problem, whereas I need to rebuild this. Okay. Hello, portrait. Hi, portrait. Good start. Hello, landscape. Beautiful. Okay. So now we're swapping between our two views. Yay. Beautiful. So Why Be a Dragon, I always implement an orientation service which uses dependency injection implemented in the device-specific projects to trigger things on orientation changes. Do you have sample code somewhere? Oh, does Xamarin Essentials have an orientation notification? Beautiful. I'd love to see it. Why bad dragon? Why be a dragon? I'm just going to call you Dragon from now on. All right. Well, we got this working already. So let's go with that, hey, for the moment, and we can refactor it later on. Let's close this down. So let's create our so let's do our portrait view. Let's see how much luck we have just actually getting all this stuff that's currently in our main page and then just bringing it across to our portrait view. So I'm gonna, oh, is that Lachlan? Okay, well, here, let me put this in here. Right. Cool. All right, we'll put that in the backlog. Let's move this main page over. So what I'm going to do, so we're going to move this. So at the moment, this is implemented as a content page. We're going to put it into the portrait view. So I'm actually just going to copy some stuffs here. We'll just port it straight across, just make sure it works. Right, so we're going to need some musings in here. Beautiful. Let's go and throw some nasty stuff in a constructor. And then let's just go and steal the rest of it all. Even though we're going to refactor this later on. Let's get all of this. Let's throw it in here. And then of course, we've got to go and get our XML from our main page as well. So we're going to need a skier sharp reference. We're going to need to grab the rest of this stuff, put that in our portrait page. All right, so if this works, then maybe we're in a good place here. Let's give that a build. It's probably not going to work. Oh no, it worked. Beautiful. Dragon, I'll get an example project this weekend for the orientation changes. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. Well, you know what you could do? You know it's Xamarin UI month, right? Let's slap together a quick blog post. Throw it down here somewhere. Okay, did we run? So I'm a bit random today. Okay, that's good. That's good. Looks like it worked. Okay, so that's our portrait mode. Looks like this. Ah, landscape back here. Beautiful. You're a hide in the corner type of person. That's all right. This is where I should make a joke about like 10 times developer or something, shouldn't I? All right, we've got our page here. It's not quite what we need at the moment because it actually sort of swaps back here, right? Because the actual content of this is being effectively done in our portrait view. This does a lot of stuff about moving to our next indexes and stuff like that. Clinton with the thousand bits. You know what I need to do, Clinton? I clearly need to have one of those hype boss icons so that you can be the hype boss on all the channels. Beautiful. Okay, so next step, let's have a look at what our next step was. So we kind of got ourselves our orientation aware page sort of done. So we decided to just swap out the pages, swap out the contents. Okay, beautiful. I think next we'll create ourselves a view model so that we can share. That is true, Clinton. I actually need to do a little bit of work on my stream, I think, getting a little bit prettier and a bit more interactivity. You do. You can help me, Clinton. All right. I'm gonna take you up on that offer. Alrighty, where are we going now? We're gonna go and create ourselves a view model. 3 bits. Booyah! Nice one, Lachlan. Thank you, sir. Yeah, look, wait on. I should get in the habit of doing this as well. What'd you do? You did 100 and then 1,000. Is that right? I don't know. 3. Beautiful. All right, let's create ourselves a view model. Let's stop mucking around here. I'm probably not going to do binding on here because it's a little bit weird the way the transitions happen, but create ourselves a view model and a view model locator, perhaps. I'm not sure I get that many. All right, let's create ourselves a folder. Let's am I still running? That's why. Let's create our view models in here. View models. Lachlan, 4 bits. Let's see how busy you can keep me. +4, +2. Nice one. You got nothing better to do with your time, right, Lachlan? All right, I'm going to have myself a view model locator, and I'm just going to do this nice and easy to begin with. Let me close all this stuff down. What MVVM libraries do people use? I'm a big fan of James's just simple one. Oh, reactive. Prism. X Labs. What's an X Labs, Lachlan? The reactive people unite. X Labs is dead. Okay, I won't use it. I'm just going to go super simple here, right? I'm just going to create myself a like a slideshow view model. And let me add a using in here first of all. Oh, actually, you know what I'm going to turn on. No, hang on. Hang on a second. I'm trying to turn on. Ah, there we go. Now I've got here we are. I've got subtitles for my keyboard. All right. So I got MVVM helpers here. Let's go and say, let's go and create a class here. Okay, and then let's just migrate this stuff. We've got this location stuff going on here. Let's copy some of this stuff in here. Right. And what we'll do. Lachlan says X-Labs used to be community-driven Xamarin.Forms MVVM framework with lots of helpers. And it's abandoned. How do I get my keys to show up? This thing here. I had a look at this the other day. Key pressed OSD. Hey, Adam Hill. Thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome. I'm going to get some subscriber badges sorted out. So there's a thing called Key Press OSD, which allows you to do lots of cool things. But one of the things it does is it allows you to, basically show what you're doing in here. Okay. Yeah. So there's a Mac version. It's not the same product, but it's kind of similar. All right. So we're going to have an observable. Oh my God. We're going to have an observable collection here, right? In fact, let's just go and create it. And this is going to be an observable collection of location models. We'll call this our location pages. Beautiful. Then we'll create ourselves a property for this bad boy. Yeah, it's cooler. It has corner radii. I actually tried it on the Mac when we did the last last meetup. But yeah, I don't know. I don't love it. But okie dokie. So let's copy that code from our create a constructor for this. Okay, and let's copy this code here, which creates all these. Okay, so we'll just go and create that. We'll go and add our elements into here. Twitch unfollowed me. Oh, well, welcome back then, R2RU. Lovely. Okay, so what do we got? We got our view model here. That's all good. That pretty much takes care of this file here. Depending on like the complexity of the project, sometimes I like to have like a view model locator. I don't know if anyone else does that. Like when I'm just doing simple things, and it's just a static class. So all this is going to be is just a static class, which of course is probably a bad thing. And all it's going to do is it's going to allow me to easily go and access the view model. I think MVVM Lite uses something similar. So we're going to have a slideshow VM. And then we're going to have static slideshow view model. Right, and we're basically going to say if we've got ourselves a slideshow VM. So it's going to create it once. It's a old school WPF style, yeah. There's lots of patterns like this that I really should just use better ones, but yeah. What I'm hoping is when Mfractor comes across to Windows, because I pretty much always program on Windows, that he has some things which will help us out with this, just creating all this stuff straight away. Okay, cool. So we've got our slideshow view model. We've got our static view model locator here. Yeah. Okay, let's... Asfaroth, hi. Welcome. Welcome. In case you're wondering what we're doing, I'm just doing some sort of tidy up essentially. But what we're actually doing today is we're moving from this, we're adding a landscape aware page so that in orientation, or in a landscape orientation, it's going to change across to here. That's what we're doing. Beautiful. But at the moment, I'm just sort of refactoring things, so it's a little bit boring. Okay. Let's go and extract all of that horrible code that we have in here, which has got like the index of the page and things like that. And let's bring that into our view model. So I'm going to just comment out some things, and some things are going to break, no doubt. Okay, so I'll get rid of our current index and our get next index. Okay, so the idea of this is we get the next index, and if we're at the end of our images, we go back to the first one, of course. So we'll get rid of that. And this one's probably going to be a bit of a problem as well. All right, let's go and put some of this into our view model. So I think probably what we want is we want to have a current index in here. 3 a.m. going to bed. Looking forward to watching the stream tomorrow. No worries. Thanks, Bling Blong. And I'll check out that tweet as well, and maybe we can talk about how to get some stuff into Common Library. Wonderful. So have a good night's sleep. So let's have a current index. That's all good. Let's have a move next method. All right. In fact, I might just copy that moment. Copy this. I don't want to go too far off the rails here. All right. And a move next method is basically going to say the current index equals our next index. All right. And then we should raise that property, right? So that property changed. Again, we'll change this later on to use proper properties and things like that. But let's just say, let's go and update our current index with a new value. So that should probably give us a move next. Now we need to be able to know about the current one and the next one, right? So I'm actually going to create a property here. Just going to give us a location model for the next location, right? And what that's going to do for us is just going to return location pages next index. All right. Because that's sort of pretty much how this other page works. So let's get rid of some of these things. So first of all, we want to go ahead and we want to set these values based on the view model. So let's have a view model inside of here. And we'll even set the binding context. Let's create ourselves a view model here first. And then we'll say like this, binding context. Probably don't even need to set the binding context, so I'm not actually binding. So that's going to be our view model, which is also going to be our view model locator. Show view model. Change that to a capital. All right. Cool. So now we have a view model. Let's go and use that to now, instead of just sort of referencing into this stuff, let's go to our view model. Dot current location. No, view model. Let's have a look. Did I not make it a... I need a current location in here as well, because otherwise we don't know which one we're up to. And we want a current index. Beautiful. So now we should be able to get a current location. Cool. And these ones here should now be able to use that as well. Right. So that takes care of those ones. What else do we have to fix up? Let's get rid of this code. Update off-screen elements. What was I doing with that? I think that was where I was using that to basically say to update the information for the next one coming in effectively. Okay. So I probably will just go and get the next one out of here, I think. See if that works. Next location title. And our image resource. Beautiful. Get rid of this index here altogether. Let's see what else is broken. Here's our code to do our updates here. Where we cycle our elements. Okay, I don't need to do this anymore. And just do that. Our animation should stay the same. And when we get to the bottom of the animations, we should just call a move next method in our view model. Maybe. See if that builds. Build succeeded. All right. Let's see if it runs. It probably won't run. Well, things never run first time. Or do they? All right, so that should be getting it all from our view model now. That's cool. I am live. Why doesn't Twitch send me an email? I don't know, but I think you can hit the little notify button in Twitch and it should shoot you an email. Or if you have the Twitch app installed, it will send a notification. Okay. Maybe Twitch hates me for some reason. I don't know. All right, so we've got our landscape page. We've got our portrait page. So we can probably start working on landscape. How are we going to do this? Let's have a look at our page. All right, the most obvious thing here seems that what we're going to have is we're going to have a grid, because all great designs start with grids, right? And then guessing we're going to have a column here. We're going to have this as skier sharp. It's going to go across the whole grid out of there, I think. And then we're going to align these texts. Good thing is we've got the styles from earlier on as well. So let's start off with that. So I have live reload. So you would do a clean and rebuild. Yeah, okay. That's a good idea, Dragon. Because for all I know, I could still be running the old version. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run it on Android because the Android doesn't have that problem. Quick question. How am I getting the images from the Dribble arts? Do I just take similar ones? You know what I did? You know what I did in this case? Because I thought in order to be able to go and reproduce this and see what it's actually doing is try and get the actual same images. So what I actually did was something like this. I basically got this, sort of had a look at it. And you know, like designers mostly use like stock images from somewhere. And in fact, the interesting fact about this one is these are all places in Iceland, but actually these photos are not Iceland. So what I do is I just use, okay, Snagit. And just go ahead and capture an image like this. So for things like the assets up the top, like the hamburger menu and stuff like that, I just do them myself. I'd go into Adobe XD and reproduce those. But for you know, bitmapped images, so like this one here, I go and grab that, and then I'm going to save it out as a file on my machine. Lots of sample image, and then I just go to like Google image search, just and Google. And wait on. Right, you can go to Unsplashed and things like that, but if I go to images, is there a way you can come in here, search by image, upload a file, I'll grab that file. Right. And then it sort of says, here's some visually similar images, right? But in fact, this one here, yeah, gotta love a reverse image search. And I think somewhere in here I found it. It looks like it there, doesn't it? In this case, it looks like it's in Unsplash. That's not it. That not taking, there we go. And it turns out that, of course, this is Matterhorn. It's not in Iceland, but it's also the same image, right? Because actually it's finished running up on my Android device, right? So let's just check it's still working. I know it's the same image because the chance of two photographers ending up with that bird at the same place, pretty unlikely. So there you go. That's kind of how I find them. or when I'm doing UI challenges, I just pick things that are similar. Anyway, there you go. The good news is this is now running on Android and it's working. Now, if I do this in landscape, we should go to a landscape page. Yep, hello landscape. Same odds as a good collision. Lachlan and I were talking to some people about the odds of a good collision. I haven't been to Matterhorn, no. But I have traveled a lot, but never to Matterhorn. All right, so let's design this page. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell this to stay on top. Come over here. Yeah, that should stay on top now. Beautiful. And this will allow us to, because I'm running live XAML, come across to my landscape view here. Let's just test that it's working. Yep, that's working. Beautiful. Okay, let's start with a grid. And we're going to have some columns. We'll have 2 columns. Width equals, I don't know, let's just pick a value for the moment. Does anyone use rainbows? Is it Rainbow by Stephen to test this stuff? You know what I mean? Because what I would normally do is I would normally do this, right? I'd say box view equals box view. I should just probably do it, shouldn't it? There we go. Yeah, you do? I haven't used it yet. Should we try it? Let's try it. Debug rainbows, that's the one. It's a mighty fine looking design. Love it. All right. What do we need to do? We need to add a namespace and just do into our shared project. Okay. I should just have a look what it's called. All right. So according to me then, what do I need to do? Blah, blah. I need to say rainbows. Rainbows is on. Is that it? I think that's it. Hang on. I got to add my rainbows namespace too. All right, let's try it. Yeah, is debug equal true? I got that one there. Android, you're normally so much faster for me. Where are we? Ooh. Oh. I see. I've got to turn it on for each element, do I? But that means it's not going to highlight each of the elements in the grid for me, is it? So I'm going to have to do this, right? I'm going to have to say box view. So if I added a label in, Yeah, exactly. I thought that would do it. Let's do this. No? I have to set the background color. Okay. It's interesting. Anyway, let's not worry about that. Let's see if it starts becoming sort of useful as we go through. Thank you for the follow. I will solo. Welcome. We're just playing around with some designs. Add it to the content page. It is in the content page, isn't it? Isn't that what that is? Let's try this. Let's put it in our grid. There we go. That's it. It seems to work. It had to be in the container. Which means that one's kind of redundant, right? All right. Let's work with this for a while. Let's see how we go. Okay, cool. So so we're gonna have let's go back and have a look at our image again. Yeah, I'm on a content view. Yeah. Works like expected on a content page. Okay, cool. That's good to know. So I think that what we want here is a grid that looks like this. So like that, and then I think we'll do that. So I think we'll have 2 rows, 2 columns, have this span, that sort of offset, an icon there, an icon there. Let's go with that as a starting point. So question, so is starting to learn Xamarin.Forms straight, is it a good thing, or do I need a background of something first? I would say if you're going to learn Xamarin.Forms, it's good to know C#, okay, or F# if you're that way inclined, but C# definitely. What other dependencies do we have? I mean, it's good to know mobile platforms if you know mobile platforms, but it's not really essential if you're doing Xamarin.Forms, at least when you're starting out. You know, when you start writing really high quality apps, it's probably good to understand a bit more about the platforms. What I would recommend is there used to be a thing called Xamarin University, which I used to teach at, but we've actually moved all this content across here over onto live learning. And so somewhere in here, there is probably, let me find you a link. Yeah, Xamarin. Okay. So this is a good place to go. Let me post that link out. Right. So this is a whole bunch of different classes, going from beginning to end. Introduction to some. So the way that Microsoft Learn works is that there's units. And you can see there are somewhere between like an hour, half hour. So they're nice and consumable. But things, this is I think it's a little bit confusing. But things that have a hexagon, what's called a learning path. So this is like a bunch of courses you want to follow. The ones with circles are actual modules in the learning path. So I would start here. Okay, and that's gonna give you a nice on-ramp. Does anyone else in the chat have any other suggestions or help for I Will Solo? I think it's a good place to start. All right. Pluralsight. Pluralsight's okay. I find the Pluralsight material is out of date quite often. And if you have a look at Xamarin.Forms like a year ago, even to now, it's very different. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Lachlan said the 10 Days of Xamarin series was a good start as well. Have you had a link to that? Okay, I know it was out here. 10 Days of Xamarin or something like that. There we go. Yeah, this is kind of like a nice little this is a nice little sort of stepping through building an application. And maybe if you'd like to learn pure native, they can go to Udacity, do the Android and iOS courses. Yeah, it's sort of going pretty deep though. I think if you're interested in Xamarin.Forms, yeah, I would start maybe with this. I think it's a good idea, Lachlan. And then go and have a look at the learn material as well. And follow people on Twitter. That's a good way. Yeah. All right, what am I doing here? I'm creating some grids. I'm going to set up some row definitions. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll say I want my top row, and I'll just... Am I still running? I'm still running, aren't I? Come on. Take my device here. Okay, so I'll say my height of my first row, let's give it like 150 or something like that. And then the second row, make it a star. Okay. It's not updating that yet, but that's cool. Now, we want to have a canvas across the whole background. All right, so I need a namespace for that. I can get the namespace of that. Yeah, why bad? Hot reload, I can't wait as well. Put that in here. Let's get the skier namespace. Okay, we've got a skier namespace. And we'll add a skier canvas to the back end. So canvas view. And we want this to... I don't have a prediction. You can sign up for the private beta preview. That's a pretty good way of going. And then you can test it out. I'm guessing they're going to try and wait until it's ready effectively. Soon trademarked. Right, let's say we want that across both grids. We want it to fill the amount of space horizontally. We want it to fill it vertically. Cool. We also probably want to give it an event here as well. We'll fill that in a moment. Yeah, LiveXaml works really well, actually. Okay, now what else do we need? We need to have ourselves a box view for our for our background. So let's have that in grid row 0, grid column 0. And span 2 rows. We'll give that a background color of white. Okay. With my debug rainbows, I can't tell that it's the right color. I do that. Yeah, cool. Okay, so I can just toggle it there. Beautiful. I'm gonna turn it off for a moment because I want to see the colors as they're really going to be. So I don't want that red. Let's just change it to like a light blue for the moment. Beautiful. Okay, so we got our 2 columns here. Let's go and throw in some labels like a heading. And on my portrait view, I've already got some headings in here and some bodies. So I'll copy those across because it's pretty much the same. That's going to want to go after this box view because we want it to appear on top. Okay, we want this to be in, let's go and see where it's going at the moment. Okay, not what we're after. We want the heading to be in row 0, but we want it to span across multiple columns. So we'll say grid dot column span is 2. Okay, we actually want this to be probably a little bit bigger, but also we want it at the end of that first row. So I could say vertical options, end. Beautiful. Okay. Let's have a look at our design here. Forget what we're trying to do. Okay, probably a little bit of padding in there. It's probably a little bit bigger as well. Let's override that style there. Okay, cool. Let's get that body information in the right place. So that's probably about where it wants to be. We might want to add a little bit of margin in there as well, maybe. And pull down the font size. Okay, because what we're going to want is we're going to want, sort of expand this up a little bit here. We're going to want, it's terrible refresh, isn't it? Say high quality. Yeah, that's better. R2AU, did I go back and have a look at Clancy's stream yesterday? No, I didn't. Not yet. Is there something amazing going on in there? Let's go and add a couple of box views in here just to try this out. So we'll say, let's create a box view with a width and a height of like 40. Okay. I want this to be in the second grid. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create the 2 buttons that we want. So we'll say, give this a height request of 40. We're going to want to put this in grid row 1. We want it to be at the end. And vertical options of start as well. Cool. Too big a box, but there we go. They're not quite the same. Dragon. I'll show you where I've come a cropper before with box views. Let's say I've got this box view here, right? Let me make it bigger. Right, so I've got my my box there. If I give this a border radius, a corner radius of 20. Right, well, let's give it a corner radius of 40. If I set a background color on this to be red, maybe I lied. I thought that was going to actually put it in there for me. Okay, maybe you're right there. Maybe it was with the pancake view I was trying that. It has a slightly different, but yeah. There we go. Use it. Use whatever you like. Let's go and make these a little bit smaller. Let's just try 40. See how we go. Some things in the chat. I tried getting to Xamarin today to look into mobile dev, but for whatever reason, the virtual phones wouldn't start up, so I gave up. Yeah, so Z Doctor, do you have a physical device? The reason I mention is because yeah, the Android emulators are complex to set up. Absolutely. I don't use them to tell you the truth, just because I kind of get sick of them, because sometimes they break and things like that. This is what I do. So I've basically got I got a physical device here that's running this. Okay, so I deploy to my physical device, and then I use a little application called Visor, which is what's actually mirroring this to my screen here. And I find that's a lot easier to go with. So that's visor.io. Let me just put that in the chat window as well. You can also try downloading Android Studio. Yep. That's also an option for sure. Yeah, the thing is with Android Studio, it'll download the emulators. Probably the biggest problem I think most people have with configuring, and something you might want to check, is that here's actually, we went through a Xamarin hack day the other day, and people were setting this up. So here's the key things. Inside of your, I'll just stop this for a moment. Inside of your Android settings, you've got the SDK manager. You want to make sure that, oh, did I just lose my screen here? You guys just seeing a gray square where my screen used to be? Yeah, all right. That's not good. That's not good. Well, let's do this. Or is it blue? Let me see if I can fix that for you. Change it to that for a moment. And then let's change it back to that. Wow. Okay, hang on. It's really gone. It's having a bad day, huh? All right, that's working. Back here. Where is my display? There's my other screen. This one. She just gone. All right, I'm gonna try this one more thing. My goodness. Said Doctor, you yeah, you broke the stream. How about that? You and your Android problems. Wow. Okay. How am I gonna fix this? Do what I'm gonna try and do. Try just adjusting my screen here. There is the restart OBS option, but I don't really want to, I don't want to do that. I think I'm going to have to. All right. I'm going to do that. I'm going to restart OBS. And then I'm not... Let me quickly do that and see how we go. Hopefully, we'll still be here in a second. So hold tight. In fact, see how we go.